spotlight you for everybody, and then I'll let you take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good night, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. It is awesome to be here. We're going to switch up the call just a little bit today. I don't know if I told corporate I was going to or not, so they're going to have to just deal with it and play with it. So welcome to the team, everybody. Welcome for being here. You are in a beautiful recession-proof business, which is important. So let's cover a number of things that these are just imperative things to kind of talk about. Number one is what I always love to talk about is value. And so Govvi's value is multifaceted. Well, one of the big things that I see, and you know, it's not bad, but one of the big things that I see is a lot of people really only focus on, oh, the fuel mileage increase, the fuel mileage increase. That's not a bad thing. The thing is with that, though, we can't guarantee what somebody's going to get for results. So we don't want to go out and say, yeah, you're going to get 30 to 50% gas mileage. That's not what we want to do. We want to say, hey, you're probably going to get 10 to 20% increase, but the value doesn't just come there. The value is also that we have this weird addition of ethanol. And so everyone can kind of start paying attention, especially in the United States, that in the US, they've started rolling out more ethanol into gasoline, but they haven't really given us much information. The Biden administration just said, hey, and I'm not political, this is just the facts. They said, hey, we're going to increase the amount of ethanol by 50% in gasoline from 10 to 15%. But they didn't really lay out when, where, what, how much, the transition stage. And this extra ethanol is not a great thing because it burns hotter, it burns dirtier, and you're also going to get less fuel economy getting more ethanol in there because it doesn't burn as well. It's not as good a product. So this is something I've actually been seeing a few people reporting, saying like, hey, don't be fooled by these cheaper gas prices. I'm getting way less miles per gallon. That would be due to the addition of ethanol. And ethanol only really has about a 1 to 3 month shelf life before it starts to go unstable and oxidize. Basically, it goes foul and goes rotten, and then it doesn't burn nearly as well, and then it burns dirtier. So 1 to 3 months, though, most of our ethanol comes from corn, which was harvested roughly last year. So most of the ethanol in the nation wasn't made on the spot. It was made, 6-9 months ago. But ethanol's shelf life is 1 to 3 months. So here's where the incredible part of Govvi's value comes in, that the fuel economy increase is also, that's great. Do not get me wrong. But the equivalent of a 3 to 5 octane or cetane boost is another addition on top of that provides the value, because that value then comes of people being able to use, instead of 91 or 93, they can use 87. I did that in my Trackhawk for three gas tanks full of a Jeep Trackhawk. If you don't know what it is a very, very thirsty 700 horsepower supercharged, just absolute beast. And I was able to use the 87 instead of 93, and I felt I got basically the same performance because I pay very close attention to these things. I like my car. I like to drive it fast. I like to drive it, when I'm alone, a little bit, maybe faster off the starting line than I probably should or need to, but I love it. So after about 3 tanks, I was still at 23% roughly gas mileage increase, even using the 87 instead of 93. So I was able to stop there, and I said, okay, well, this is fun, but I'm going to perform a new experiment. So I basically took my car out of the eco mode, left it in the sport mode, or just got on it more often. And even still using the 87 and not having it on the eco mode and not being gentle on it, I was able to get still slightly better gas mileage than with it on the eco mode. So I could leave it in sport mode. To me, that was fantastic. I now get to drive my car like I purchased it for, and it really doesn't cost me any more money. Now also I've put in the 93 octane for the last 2 tanks and used 2 tabs of the Govvi, and I tested out like my quarter mile in 0 to 60, and I got some fantastic results with it. So there's the racing world and the speed up world, the performance world. That's an aspect and a component of it. We've also got the offsetting of the ethanol damage, which is another big component of it, because your car is your second most expensive investment that you're probably going to have in your lifetime. One of my downline just went to a mechanic, and he's got I think it's a BMW of a kind. It cost him $3,400 to get new gaskets and seals put into it. And the mechanic literally showed him in the engine and said, look, this is what the ethanol has done to your gaskets and your seals, because it's not good for them. So this coming in with the Govvi, being able to help protect from these things, is another huge thing. But one of the really commonly overlooked markets that's out there is the whole green energy field. And while a lot of the green energy field is honestly a horrific scam, like ethanol itself is not green. It's terrible. It's a big scheme by large seed corporations and GMO corporations to be able to just make everybody grow corn and monoculture and spray a bunch of their chemicals that are out there, and then be able to burn your food up as fuel for your car. It's not green whatsoever. Plus it burns really dirty. So that isn't helping anything. So in terms of when we go green energy too, people are saying, oh, hey, the electric cars, here we go. I'm really against them personally, and I don't mean to offend anybody, just because they're not environmentally friendly, not only mining for all the nickel or the things that come in the batteries to be able to charge them. That's not green, number one, right there. And number two, they're still charged by coal power plants. That's not green there either. So there's nothing really green or good for the environment about an electric car. In the future, sure, but right now it's a horrible joke that the environment's paying the cost. This is a great marketing opportunity for people, though, as well, for those that are really about saying, hey, I want to get into this green movement. I want to help save the planet. That's actually a very worthy cause. And that's something great, because I got to live on this planet with what, 6 billion other people. We probably all should start learning how to take care of it. Everybody says, hey, we need to have a race to Mars so we can go colonize it and all that. It's like, how about we stop trashing the planet we've got first before we spread like parasites and a virus through the solar system, go destroy other planets too? How about we focus down here? So this is where Govvi comes in. That a great marketing angle for it is to be able to say, those of you that are worried about the green energy and you want to help the planet and everything, Govvi, with our third-party test, from what I'm told, we get nearly a 50% reduction in emissions. That means if everybody starts using Govvi, that's the equivalent of half the number of cars being on the road in terms of emissions. The more people that are using Govvi, the more planet saving that happens. Plus, we get better fuel economy, so we get better out of that right there as well. Plus, this is going to help cars and vehicles' engines last longer. This is a big thing for the manufacturer of the product. They worked in the commercial world, not really so much for the amount of gas mileage savings that they got. That isn't a component to it. But the thing is, these tabs would have helped these people who have really expensive equipment. Could be a couple $100,000, could be a couple $1 million pieces of equipment. If they can squeeze 2 to 3 more years out of that equipment, that's a great return on investment, because these vehicles are very expensive. Most of us that are in, on this call right now too, your vehicles are very expensive. So being able to help let that car and that engine run longer, produce less emissions, get better fuel economy. Number one, not only is this good for the person who's driving the car, because now your car isn't having, let's say the fouled out oxygen sensors or the fuel sensors or the injectors going bad, or tailpipes, catalytic converters, mufflers, all that, having all that excess carbon running through it and carbonization. That's not only good for the person driving the car to cut down all those repair bills, but now we've extended the lifespan of a vehicle by, it's kind of impossible to measure, but let's say a car lasts another 1 to 2 years because it runs cleaner. And so we have less wear and tear. We've got less, moving parts that have to be replaced. That's also really great for the environment. So when we take a look at, well, I don't agree with the electric car movement in the least, I actually despise it. That doesn't mean, just because I have an opinion, that I can't market to somebody, that you find the middle ground of saying, okay, cool. Well, we're all still saying it would be great to help save the planet. Well, we can help extend the life of your engine. We can help get you, saving the planet like you want. And we can also help increase your fuel economy and help possibly reduce repairs, hopefully. So there's a multifaceted level of value to bring in here, that first and foremost, that's really the best way to approach your sharing. I don't like to say selling, because if I'm selling a product, that's one thing. But if I'm sharing it because it actually provides value, that's a way better way to do this. And that comes across way better to the people that you want to approach, saying, I've got something that helps fill a lot of need. What is it you need in your life, and where can I provide a solution and provide value? Well, with Govvi, we've got fuel economy increase, we've got the reducing emissions, we've got the engine lasting longer. These are multiple great things to be talking about, and a lot of people don't think about that with their cars, that people are kind of starting to visit about, some of this ethanol problems. It's great to be ahead of this. Also, not politicizing anything, just this is a fact right now. Gas prices may have come down, but it's also come down because they've dumped a bunch of the fuel reserves that we have. So they flooded the market with a bunch of our fuel reserves and this extra ethanol, basically buying votes for these midterm elections. So they're gonna come back up. I would love it if they didn't. That would be great. If I'm wrong, awesome. Every single person here can call me and say, Adam, you were wrong. They didn't come back up. I'd be like, oh, sweet. That means everybody in the nation is going to save a lot of money. Unfortunately, I don't really think that's going to be the case. They're going to be coming back up. So those who kind of are paying attention right now is a great time for those who have, let's call it eyes to see and ears to hear, saying, hey, we understand something's coming in the future. Now with this too, as this comes in the future, we've also got they're going to be raising interest rates to control inflation. This is going to put a squeeze on more people's pocketbooks. There's going to be, there's a big wave of people out there. There was previously a bunch of people left a bunch of network marketing companies. We're looking for new homes. It was one of the things that I was griping about, saying, hey, I don't want to pay $250 a month just to get a paycheck and watch my friends have to pay that too. Well, there's a lot of, especially there's probably a lot of women on the call, they understand there's a lot of husbands that are out there that say, listen, we've been paying $250 a month for 6 to 9 months now for you to make $30 to $60, a paycheck. So we're losing money here. I get it. We got some cool products you like, but you're taking a ton of time away from the kids. We've already sort of seen this happen, that kind of dads stop in, especially when gas really went up there. The husbands come in are like, listen, sorry, we got to cut this because we need that money to put it somewhere else. And I need you to be off your phone, especially if you're not making money. No offense. This is a very common thing. I'm not trying to insult anybody. This is just part of the network marketing. So we're going to see a big little influx of people jumping around to other network marketing companies at the current moment. But the problem is when this gas price goes back up, people are going to move away from luxuries and they're going to start moving towards necessities. While I love all the different supplements and I love natural health and I love all these other little goodies that I can pick up, the thing is when the budget gets tight, what goes? It's the luxuries that go. The necessities, like I got to still get to work and back and I got to pay my bills, that isn't going to go away. This is where Govvi comes in again, that in the future, as the gas prices start to go up, we're going to see kind of this exodus again of people saying, kind of like the husband being like, sorry, honey, gas prices are expensive, things are going up. So people are going to be working right now to try and find their side hustles. And it's cool, whatever they settle into. And I really hope them the best of luck. But one of the things that we've got, that the worse the economy gets, the more value our product provides. So it's a whole different story, in the United States. Now, other countries around the world, their gas is already exponentially more. They're like astronomically more expensive than ours. So that value is already still out there with these other companies, or with these other countries, definitely. But as the United States, as this kind of starts rolling back around and it starts happening, the gas prices start going back up, this just makes this product even more of a necessity. I mean, it might be such a thing within the next 6 to 9 months that there is no such thing as ethanol-free gas anymore, or the non-oxygenated. For me, that's a big deal of saying, listen, I really don't want to put garbage gas in my car knowing what it does do. And I don't want to dump in like liquid fuel stabilizers and spill it and carry those jugs and all the waste to the environment, little plastic bottles and all that stuff. I'm even more happy that Govvi's coming in and it has this little fuel catalyst that does all of these things to help protect the engine and help make the gas better and improve my fuel economy and reduce the emissions to the environment. All of that is great, but as time goes along, its value that we're going to provide is only going to increase. So everybody that's kind of on the call right now, this is a great time to say, all right, the prefrontal cortex, we're going to do long-term decision-making and planning. This really provides an insight into Govvi's going to be a necessity for a lot of people as time goes on, as the economy gets worse, as the gas prices go up. This makes your business recession-proof. This makes you part of that necessity instead of part of that luxury. So you're going to find once this starts happening, it may not be immediately, but in the next little while, we're going to start noticing people going, all right, hey, listen, you know what? I thought about this before. Maybe I'm going to come in. So it's a great time to put that out there for people, and don't do this from a fear-based standpoint. That's why I try to maintain a pretty neutral stance of saying, listen, I hope I'm wrong and everyone can yell at me if I am. That's cool. But I would like to say the real reality of where we're at. The gas prices are artificially low right now. I mean, could big oil companies decide they don't want to make as many profits in the future? Well, I mean, maybe. But the thing is, where this is going, don't do it from a fear base, saying we can say there's a problem and there's a problem coming in the future. And let's prepare for that with a solution, because even if the gas prices don't go up, you're still getting the value for your dollar. If the gas prices do go back up, or when they do, now you're providing even more value on a lot of levels. So this is a great thing to start talking to people about, of those who have the responsibility and the foresight and the ability to look down the line and say, yeah, you know what, maybe this is a really good idea to be part of something like this, because this is going to provide a real need to a lot of families, and it already does provide a real need to a lot of families. But as time goes on here, the economy gets a little bit worse. We stay in that necessity bracket and not the luxury. So that means that there's a lot of people are going to see the difference between it, that they may stay with the other one and say, hey, I'm coming over to Govvi too. Or they might say, this just isn't worth it over here because the economy's changing. These products that are just a luxury and not a necessity, I'm not really going to be purchasing near as many of them. The business is going to be a lot harder. That means you can spend way less time on Govvi and get a lot more results than if you spent a bunch of time over in the luxury world, when people kind of stop looking for the luxury and start looking at the necessity. So this was just a short little presentation. I was right about the 20-minute mark. I did pretty good. Of just remember the number of the different ways that you're providing value outside of just the fuel economy increase. And then also the people that understand and prepare, saying these gas prices are artificially low. We've dumped a bunch of our fuel reserves as a nation. We said we're going to be putting more ethanol into the gas to water it down, to reduce the prices of it and everything. This is a bunch of political ploy. So this is probably not going to last for forever. So, and somebody in the UK, like, your fuel is $1.82 a liter or something. That's still like $7 a gallon or something in our terms. So you guys, that's the fact that your gas went down and it's $7 an hour. I don't need to preach to you guys. Your gas prices are already terrible. So you're set over there. It's in the United States here. We need to watch these compounding things to be able to plan for the future. So it's great. Govvi already provides the value to these foreign countries, or to the more like the UK and Australia and New Zealand and Canada, where your gas prices are astronomical. And in the US, though, we're going to start moving that direction too, most likely. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm probably not going to be. Gas prices, after this little political midterm election things, and we run out of the fuel reserves to dump in and stabilize prices, and then they're going to keep pushing for more ethanol. That's even worse. So just remember the myriad of different ways that Govvi provides the value in protecting your second largest investment that you're probably going to make in your life. Also, the value of it, protecting that engine, also offsetting the damage, also helping the environment. You're going to use, if we've got all this green marketing that's everywhere, piggyback on it, work with it, meet in the middle. We don't have to say, like, we can name all the things and we can gripe all about how much is wrong with electric cars, and I'll agree with basically all of it. But we can also come in and say, well, I know I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum here, but we can still meet in the middle and we can still solve problems together, because there's a lot of people that don't have electric cars. And until they get better and until a bunch of problems are solved, we're there to meet in the middle until we become obsolete 6-8 years from now. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball that looks that far into it. So, well, I do, but I'm really not. We're going to put a pin in those for later to some of those projects. So anyway, provide that value, seek to do that. If you make a sale, you'll earn an income, but if you change a life, you'll make a living. Two very different things. Come at it with that heart-based approach. I want to come to you to solve a problem and provide value. I'm not here to make a sale. Also, too, is Carrie and Lance will tell you, it takes you 30 seconds to talk somebody into the product and 20 minutes to talk them out of it. Work smarter, not harder. If they're curious, let them explore the FAQs. They can go read the science. And if they get all uppity of saying, oh, I want more and more and more of the science, we're not here to provide a 6-credit college course on how organometallic fuel catalysts work. If you wanted to go do that, go get a degree. I'm sorry. That's not what I'm going to sit and spend all of my time on. We have our third-party testing that, Carrie, how long until that one's out, you think?
I think that will be out sometime this week, actually.
Okay, yeah, I know it was really soon here. So we'll have that and say, listen, you might get better, you might get a little bit worse, but all this other value is still there. Let's look at the whole thing, not just a portion of the value that Govvi provides. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's call. Thank you so much for your time and for showing up. Carrie, Angel, Corporate, everybody, you guys are unbelievable. And everybody that's working it, just keep doing it, because go provide that value. Go solve problems. Don't just make sales. Go share, and let's go change some lives together.